Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and welcome to just a pretty random stream. I'm calling it the preview stream. I did this last game week and I wanted to do it again really because I quite like doing it because it's not got the same intensity, I suppose, of a deadline stream. It's a little bit more chilled out, a little bit more relaxed. And we can just chat about stuff and stuff in the news as we approach the deadline in a slightly less manic fashion. So we can kind of look at team news. It allows me to spend a little bit of time kind of updating the wildcard draft that I did earlier. So we're going to be covering the wildcard and maybe trying to make a team for you guys to use if you are on a wildcard right now. And also I'm going to be giving a shout out to the giveaway that I'm doing, which is the Fantasy Football Fest tickets. I will do that, I think, in about 10 minutes. And basically, I'll just, there's no competition or anything. You guys can just have the spare Fantasy Football Fest tickets that I have. Like, anyone who wants them, who's in the UK, wants to go, can go. And that's pretty much going to be it. So there we go. Apparently, the World Cup draw is on right now. Okay, well, that could be interesting. We can hear about that. I didn't realise it was actually on right this moment. That's actually, I kind of wish I was watching that instead, but it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about FPL today anyway. So, guys, first of all, I think we actually have a look at some of the team news that is going on around. Some players that some of you might be interested in. I think we can have a look at... we can go through on Twitter and see if we can find anything extra as well. But the biggest one I've got for you right now is Trent Alexander-Arnold is looking more positive, to be honest. He had light training in the last couple of days. He's in full training today. And there is a chance, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but there is a chance that we might have Trent back against Watford. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance. I would probably still speculate that Trent is benched or, not in the squad. But, guys, if you have Trent Alexander-Arnold in your team, at this point, I think you keep him. I really do. I think you keep him because there's just, he seems to be progressing a lot better than we thought, which is not the first time something like that has happened at Liverpool, to be honest. We know about Jurgen Klopp and the dark arts. So, yeah, hopefully he's going to be... Hopefully he's going to be available, but we'll see. As for some of the other players, Reece James, a few of you guys probably either have Reece James or are considering bringing in Reece James. He looks pretty good to go. He's been in training all week. Everything's looking really good. There was a tweet I saw earlier today that said that he's with the squad or in the squad. I don't know if that literally means in the squad to play against Brentford or not. But he's there or thereabouts. He's certainly available for selection. I still think he is a slight risk, but I certainly say the chances of Reece James playing are looking more likely than him not playing at this point, which is really good. Trent, on the other hand, I would still give Trent probably, and this is just pure speculation. I'm not stealing this from the FPL website, but 75% chance of playing. I don't think that. So I think it's going to be more like probably like a 25-30% chance of him starting. I wouldn't be too confident in that. There's been a few people saying that Cancelo might actually be rotated. We'll see about that. Will he be rotated in reality? I'm not sure. He has played a lot for Portugal. He could potentially afford to be rotated. We know Kyle Walker is still banned from the Champions League. So maybe if Kyle Walker plays in the Champions League at right back in the Premier League, knowing that Cancelo will have to play there in the Champions League, where does that leave us with left backs? Well, it's usually Cancelo, but it could also be Zinchenko. I guess that's kind of going to be it because Laporta is probably not going to be playing there. He's going to be a centre-back. Nathan Ake potentially at left-back, but I'm not sure. So, yeah, between Zinchenko and Cancelo, I would say Cancelo is far more likely to start than not start, but it's just something to consider. Like, a lot of these fullbacks are a little bit risky at the moment. And it's kind of annoying because they're actually the players that if we knew they were going to start, we would be going all in on them because they look really good to go, don't they? They look really good for this game weekend and a few game weeks beyond. Cancelo, Trent, Robertson and Reece James. If you had those four players and they all started this game week, you are looking at 10-point pluses for each of them, realistically, aren't you? You can easily see that happening. Clean sheets across the board. And with these guys, there will be goal returns as well, whether that's assists, whether that's goals. It could be really good. Could be really, really good indeed. So those guys are available. Trent is close to being available. James is available. Ramsdale is not looking good, unfortunately. So make sure you've got your backup goalkeeper ready to go. I don't think he's going to play. I mean, I'm going to start him in my team anyway, just in case, because it's not like he's going to sub on for a 1-pointer or anything like that, is he? Yeah, well, I have got De Gea in backup. I would still recommend, guys, that if you haven't got a backup goalkeeper, then try and make sure you have a backup goalkeeper, even if it's Ben Foster. I mean, it's probably not going to go down so well, but maybe that's a place where it's worth making a transfer, particularly if you have no other big problems to deal with. If you're not a Jimenez owner, for example, you've got a free transfer going around, and yeah, that's pretty much it. A few of you guys in the chat. I am checking the chat today, guys. Don't worry. I just wanted to kind of speak without a break. I just wanted to blurt out a load of stuff about Reece James and Trent and Ramsdale and Cancelo. But hi, guys. I hope you're doing well. I can see you guys all in the chat. Don't worry. And we will be answering some of your questions during the stream as well. Who have we got in the stream? We've got Dan Cross is here. We've got any members? Jeremy Offcore. Offcore is going to give us some updates on the World Cup group stages as well. So, yeah, definitely, guys, if you want to put in the group, the World Cup groups in the chat, that would be really good. We can read them out live on stream as well. We've got Gianni's in the chat as well. What's up, Gianni? Hope you're doing okay. And yeah, there you go. That's you guys in the chat. That's just you guys in the chat. I love it. Absolutely love it. So right, other injury news. What have I got for you? Well, not really very much. Saka looks good. I'm trying to think of other big players that I might have missed. Leicester look rotation prone from what I've seen today. I think that is a little bit of a risk. Aside from that, I mean, is there any other players, like big players, that have kind of had injury? Oh yeah, Pulisic. Yeah, Pulisic is not looking good. I know probably not many of you guys have Pulisic, but it looks good for players, therefore, like Havertz and Mount, potentially Ziyech, if you want to go for a punt on him. Pulisic being out does improve the likeliness of those guys starting. Who else? Is there anyone else? No, I think that's pretty much it, guys, in terms of injury news. And unless we just want to predict some teams, which we could do as well, to be fair. But there we go. All of those are mostly available. What's the James update? James he's training. Everything's looking good with James. He may as well be fit. The issue I have with Reece James is that what seems to keep happening is he's rushed back a little bit too quickly, and he's getting himself injured over and over again. So I wonder, particularly with Chelsea's mad fixture schedule, because they have got a mad. I mean, let's have a look. Chelsea fixtures. They've got pretty mad fixture schedule at the moment. So I'm wondering if actually we are going to see a little bit of rotation for players like Reece James and Havertz, particularly Reece James in the immediate term before he starts playing a little bit more regularly. I still do think he's going to start against Brentford, but you wouldn't be surprised. We've got Chelsea versus Brentford tomorrow on Saturday, and then on Wednesday it's Real Madrid, and then on Saturday again it's Southampton, then Madrid again. Then the FA Cup semi-final, Arsenal, West Ham, and each of those are each within 3 days of each other. And their first actual week's break isn't until the Everton game and then another one against Wolves. But by that point, maybe we're going to see Chelsea advance even further in Europe. Maybe they beat Real Madrid. Maybe they'll advance in the FA Cup as well. You kind of hope so. They've got the easy draw, haven't they, against Crystal Palace there. So we could see an absolutely crazy run of games for Chelsea. It really could go absolutely ballistic. So do bear in mind that before bringing in Chelsea players. We already know what Thomas Tuchel is like and how he can occasionally frustrate us with his rotation. I don't know who's going to be nailed. We thought Rudiger would be nailed. I would say that he's probably still the most nailed-on defender who he's a kind of defender you can just have in your team and be comfortable with. A few of you guys asking about whether to swap Rudiger for James. Someone says swap Rudiger to James for a hit. No, I don't think you do that. I think if you've got Rudiger, you just kind of stick with him, at least until you understand the Reece James situation. I mean, you never know for sure. Obviously, he is training, but there might be a plan for him to play in certain games or pre-prioritised in certain games or to slowly reintegrate him into the team. It's not worth the risk. And I understand that Reece James is His point potential, his upside is enormous. The only way I would really make a swap as sideways as Rudiger to Reece James is if, I was feeling really risky. And if you are feeling really risky, then, fair enough, go for it. I'm seeing a lot of people, actually, someone in the chat, Lakshay, is saying, can I consider Chalobah? And you know what? I've had a lot of comments on videos this week. A lot of people really wanted to go for Chalobah. And I understand why. It's not because people like the look of Chalobah, it's because people are potentially getting a little bit, I don't want to say desperate, but people want to bring in a Chelsea defender, but are finding it hard to find the budget. Chalobah is just, there's going to be so much rotation. It's going to be a huge amount of rotation for him. He's going to be playing probably 40% of games. He's not even first choice and rotation risk. He's just, not first choice. So that's a really difficult one, particularly when Reece James is back and Azpilicueta can move to a centre-back position, can't he? Which is, it kind of hampers the likelihood of Chalobah getting game time even more. Matthew Vaughan on the Super Chat says, hey mate, Doherty to James already, have Rudiger and keep Trent Alexander-Arnold for free, or Trent Alexander-Arnold and Watkins to Roberts and Kane. And good job on the videos, bud. Thank you, Matthew. That's a difficult question, mate, though. Would I want to sell Trent at this point? No. He's looking too positive. He's so close to return, and he could even return this game week. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if? And if Trent is to start in this game week, I would back Trent to outscore Harry Kane this game week if Trent was to start. Just because I don't think Newcastle is that easy of a game. Whereas I think Watford is a very, very easy game. So I would prefer to have Trent than Kane this game week. If Trent is playing, obviously there's no guarantee to that. If you can do Doherty to James, I think that's something I would be more tempted to do. If I could do Doherty to Reece James for free, I would probably do it. I think that would be a good move. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The second move about getting Harry Kane is it's all well and good, but if you've got Son already, maybe not. I think Doherty can be sacrificed. I think as long as you are doing a significant upgrade, Doherty and Kulusevski, I think, can genuinely be sacrificed. If we kind of have a look at some of these fixtures, Newcastle and Aston Villa, I know they're listed as green fixtures, but are they really green fixtures at the moment, given the form of both of those teams? Nobody's expecting Spurs to go to either of these games and dominate. Surely not. Fair enough, they have done quite well against some teams. 3 goals against West Ham, 2 goals against Man United. Most of these teams, when we've seen the good scores, maybe not for Son, but if we look at a Harry Kane, for example, or someone else, let's just look at Kulusevski. We're talking big score against Everton, Brighton, Leeds. I feel like in a tougher game, Spurs will randomly turn up. In an easy game, you can see them winning just because they're just the better team. But against these teams that are kind of in the middle, and I know West Ham is probably, you would be used as an example there, but perhaps it shouldn't do. But, against a Wolves, for example, kind of a average to above average Premier League team, Spurs kind of struggle there. They turn up randomly in big games. They often beat the very weakest team, but the teams in the middle, I just don't have full faith in Spurs at the moment, and I consider Newcastle and Aston Villa to be in that category. I'm not saying that they're going to do badly. I'm not going to say they're going to even lose necessarily. But I just can't see them. I just can't see massive scores. I can't see, Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Doherty all doing really, really well. It'll be Son and Kane. In any game week, you back those guys any game week. But I don't know, Doherty and Kulusevski, maybe Doherty this week I don't mind because Newcastle are not great in attack. Kulusevski, if it wasn't for his great form, I would, genuinely consider benching him. I don't know who to bench really out of Kulusevski and Roberts. We'll have to see. I've got such a strong squad, haven't I? But in all likeliness, Trent's not going to play anyway, so it's not going to matter. And we'll get early team news. Liverpool, by the way, guys, is the early fixture. It's the early game, the first game that kicks off tomorrow at 12:30 UK time. And therefore, there's every possibility that we'll get a little bit of team news, kind of see who's with the squad, who's being left at home, this, that and the other. And maybe that'll give some clues. I mean, for example, we could find out fairly early if Trent is being left at home or if he's with the squad. There's a possibility he might I say stay at home, it's at Liverpool, but, not be with the squad kind of thing. In which case, would I consider Alexander-Arnold to James? If I knew for certain he wasn't going to start against Watford, would I do Trent to James? I think I would consider it. I genuinely think I would consider it. Call me crazy, but I think I would. But, he might play. We don't know yet. But it's certainly looking more positive than it was earlier on in the week, that's for sure. Which is good. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good and bad because it might bait a few people into keeping him and not swapping him for, a Robertson, for example. And then maybe we end up finding that a lot of people are not invested in the Liverpool defence for the Watford game at all if Trent doesn't play, because Trent is potentially some people's only Liverpool defender, and that could be some points missed out on, to be honest. I don't know. Gideon says, what about the Gandhi law? Never back the early kickoff. Now you back it. You don't back it with a captain, and yet I'm going to. Why is Son my captain, by the way? I don't remember ever making Son my captain. Did I do that? I must have done it when I was clicking view information. Yeah, Salah's the captain for me. Yes, to be fair, I am backing the early kickoff in that regard. I think you've got to, though. It is really risky to go against Salah captaincy. I know a lot of people have got their doubts about him, but I don't know. I'm struggling to find a reason not to captain Salah. Sorry guys. I know a lot of people captaining Kane, but that is form over fixture. But captaining Salah, he's not in bad form. It's kind of average form and very good fixture. You don't get much better in terms of fixtures than Watford at home. You really don't, do you? What are the worst, the better fixtures than Watford at home? Norwich at home. Leeds at home? Maybe? I mean, Leeds are improving. Would you say that actually Watford are a better game to have than even Leeds at present? Maybe they're about the same. Dan Cross says Salah loves a hat-trick against Watford. Is that true? Salah record versus Watford. Let's find out. Oh, well, okay. I mean, if that's true... Oh, this is just Liverpool's... Wait. I don't really know what I'm looking at here. Oh, I see. Okay, so we got a 5... So I'm guessing in that 5-0, he scored a hat-trick. Oh, wait. No, is that 4 goals in that one game for Salah a couple of years ago? I can't remember that one. Man, imagine if that one was to happen again. He scored 1 here, and he scored 2 here. Man, can you imagine another, Salah masterclass where he just randomly scores 3 or 4 goals, or 3 goals and an assist or something like that, and the people who haven't captained him, it'll be a big tough love moment. A big tough love moment. Anurag says, stuck with Edouard, 0.1 short of Veghorst already, have Broja, what to do? I don't know. Arguably do nothing. Arguably do absolutely nothing. That is I mean, what else can you do, to be honest? The problem is, anyone you bring in, you're not going to play. You're not going to bring in. So unless you actually need to get the money out of Edouard and downgrade him to a 4.5 million and upgrade somewhere else, then, you may as well do nothing. I mean, at the moment, in terms of forwards, what are the forwards we want right now? Kane and Veghorst. I don't even feel like people really want Veghorst that badly. It's just because there's not really any other options. And if you're not a Kane owner, you have to start a striker. You have to start a forward. Why not Veghorst, I suppose? Oh, I'm pretty laggy today. I don't know why. We are slightly laggy. I'll try and sort that out for tomorrow's stream. I'm sure that won't be too much of a problem. But who's that in the chat? Says Ryan says 11 goals in 7 games versus Watford. So that is Salah's record versus Watford. 11 goals in 7 games. That's pretty mad, right? That's pretty mad. Fair play. Dread FPL, how you doing, mate? He says, would you captain Havertz if you had him? I just don't know how you go against Salah. I could not, in good conscience, recommend to anyone to not captain Salah. If you're not captain Salah, I think you've got to do it, off your own back. Like, I can't validate it. I just cannot. It would be irresponsible of me. It's the Salah captain week, right? It's just a Salah captain week. Brandon says Richarlison for a punt. I'm not really feeling it. He did quite well in international duty, but there's no creativity. There's no opportunities for goals really for that Everton team. They're not. Yeah, it's just not really happening at the moment, is it? It's not going very well. The only 2 players I would seriously consider from Everton are Pickford, because he makes a lot of saves. Even then, he would be primarily a bench goalkeeper, maybe for a bench boost. And the other player I would consider would be Gordon, just because he's 4.5 million and he frees up so much money. I was genuinely considering like a move that I can technically do. It would take a -4, but I can actually get rid of my Spurs guys, and bring in Reece James and Gordon. And what that would actually do is it would set me up quite nicely for a game week 36 bench boost, because although Spurs are, likely to have a double game week in game week 36, the problem is that double game week is going to be against Liverpool and Arsenal. That's not really a double game week where you're going to want players like Kulusevski and Doherty, really, if you're on a bench boost. Whereas Reece James, he should have, I can't remember who it is. In fact, you know what? The video I was going to make today, but decided not to, was going to be a fixtures video. I was going to make a video all about fixtures, but then I basically realised that Ben Crellin, last night, apparently, he did this schedule graphic. So basically, I'm absolutely not needed for a fixture video because Ben has already got it covered, which is kind of annoying because I had started making that video. I started making the graphics, and then I checked. I was on Twitter and I saw this from last night, and I was like, you know what? No one needs this video. Because what I was actually going to do was something pretty similar to this. Ben's fixture schedules are usually a little bit more crazy than this, so I was gonna before I knew about this, I was going to try and work it out myself and try and make a simplified version. But as it turns out, Ben has actually already made, obviously taken some feedback on board and made a really nice simplified version, which is absolutely fantastic. So go check out @Ben Crellin on Twitter. He is the absolute fixture extraordinaire. I am just an understudy when it comes to these things. He knows exactly what he's doing. So we can have a look at that in a second. I'm just going to read out a super chat from Jack TBC, who says, I am the prick that tagged you. Apologies. I'm not really sure what that means. Tagged me in what? What did you tag me in? Or did you tag me in this screenshot, in this fixture schedule? I don't know. But anyway, this is what we're looking at. So kind of, going back to double game week 36, Chelsea's potential double game week is against Wolves and one of Leicester or Leeds or Man United. Leicester's the most likely one of the three. So, yeah, it's going to be nice to have some Chelsea players around that time, definitely. There's even potential for a double game week for Chelsea in 35. So we are going to want Chelsea players at some point. Everton are there as well that week. Leicester and either Crystal Palace or Watford. So both of those teams have pretty good double game weeks compared to Spurs, which is slightly lower. And you can see Liverpool and Arsenal. Are we really feeling that? Probably not. Fine for a Kane, fine for a Son. But outside of that, you're not expecting too many points, are you? You know, you're not going to expect too many points from Doherty. So, yeah, there is the option for me to do this. This James and Gordon transfer for a -4. It would mean sacrificing Spurs players for this game week. But hopefully, I mean, we get Reece James out of it, which I think could be a decent sacrifice, to be fair. That's the only move I'm considering, because since I found out James is looking pretty likely for today, I am getting some James FOMO. And if I was to do that, I mean, who would I... Let's do a little... Actually, I'm doing this wrong. Let's just, do some drawing. Let's do some drawing. So... How do I do this? Here we go. So that would mean that I would bench... I'd still bench Broja. I would bench De Gea, although he would probably come on. I would bench Lacazette still. And then I'd kind of have this problem of, do I go for Gordon or not? And what I'll probably do is I'd just play Gordon ahead of Roberts and have Roberts first sub. And then that would still leave me with 3 double game week players. If Trent doesn't play, then Roberts would come on. And then, after that, it's Lacazette. And you know what? It's an aggressive move. It would set me up nicely for my 36 bench boost. Yes, it's a possibility. I am not massive on keeping Spurs players right now. I know a lot of people will disagree with that, and that's absolutely fine. I think we all got to play our own game at this point, haven't we? But yeah, that's it's an option. It's something I'm thinking about. And basically, I'd have to put all of my faith in Spurs doing very badly. And as an Arsenal fan, that's actually quite easy to do. But yeah, that's kind of the situation. I'm not that bothered about owning Spurs players for the rest of the season. You've got to find the players that you're most willing to sacrifice. Right now, the players I'm most willing to sacrifice are kind of Doherty, Kulusevski, Lacazette, but I don't know who I'm going to replace Lacazette with anyway. And, I want to keep the Burnley boys for now. They will be moving on. I mean, if we go back to Ben's spreadsheet, we're kind of looking at Burnley obviously a double game week now, double game week in 33, and I think their next double game week, personally, from my own research, and I don't know if he's going to agree with me or not, but I think the most likely next double game week for Burnley is going to be 35 for that Aston Villa game. I think that's where that's likely to go in. So that's going to be a period of 5 game weeks where Burnley have 3 double game weeks. And that is obviously going to be so nice. So I'll be happy to keep my Burnley guys for those 3 game weeks, or at least most of them for those 3 game weeks. And then we'll shift them on for kind of game week 36. And if so, we can try and build ourselves a really nice bench boost. But you never know. Maybe Burnley could get a double game week in 36. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Let's see. FPL Man says, why don't you like Laka? I mean, he's not worth the money. He's definitely not worth the money. I don't think he's a terrible FPL pick, but can you honestly tell me that he's worth, 8.5 million? He doesn't get 8.5 million returns. So I'd rather reinvest that money. For example, Kai Havertz is less than that. I'd much rather have Kai Havertz than Lacazette, and Kai Havertz is cheaper. I'd rather have some other players around that price bracket. Phil Foden, for example, would be a nice player to have. I mean, maybe I'd even think about getting a Phil Foden in for the double game week. They've got a potential double game week there as well. Newcastle, and then one of West Ham and Wolves. Could be pretty decent. I think West Ham is more likely because of West Ham's potential progression in Europe. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, I said I would give a quick shout out to Fantasy Football Fest. So I'm going to do that. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to find the tweets first of all. I'm going to find wherever it is, somewhere. So, guys, this is Twitter only, just because it's not easy for me to. I don't want to be gathering sort of replies from all kinds of Instagram and Discord and YouTube and everywhere else. Just on Twitter only, guys. If this is, I'm giving away tickets for free. You don't even have to do anything. So if you haven't got a Twitter account, and you really want a free ticket to Fantasy Football Fest, if you wouldn't mind just making a free Twitter account. Yeah, you don't need to like the tweet, you don't need to retweet, you don't need to do anything. All I want you to do, I've just retweeted this tweet just now for you guys to see. If you want a ticket, I've got 4 spare tickets. If you want one of those to go to Fantasy Football Fest on the 22nd of April in London, you'll meet me, you'll meet all kinds of other creators. FPL Focal's going to be there. Obviously, Gianni's going to be there. And Fantasy Football Scout Mark Southerns is going to be there. He's, him and Gianni and Ed are the people running this. Who else is going to be there? I mean, most of the big names, particularly those based in the United Kingdom, will be there at the event. So if you want to just go to the event, it's hosted by Kelly Summers from the FPL show. Is it called the FPL show? There's going to be a quiz. You get a free drink. I mean, I think I've got the website open somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Look, it's not really my job to advertise it. I mean, I'm just giving away some tickets. If you want more information about it, you can go on their website, I suppose, or their Twitter page or something like that. But yeah, if you want a ticket, just there's no competition. Just reply to this tweet, and they are yours. They are yours, pretty much. I don't imagine many people will reply because you have to be in London, and it's from 4 p.m. as well. If you've got to travel from after work or something like that, it's going to be potentially difficult. I don't know. But yeah, if you're around, if you can get to London for the evening of the 22nd of April, let me know on Twitter as a reply to the tweet that I just retweeted now on my Twitter page at FPL Mate. And yeah, can have a ticket. And I'll give them away tomorrow. I'll give them away tomorrow at the end of the deadline stream, so after deadline. So there we go. That's that done. Oh, and I remember what else I was going to say. This is not going to happen again for the rest of the season, so I'm going to flex this very quickly. But we are currently, this is not going to last very long. This is temporary, but we are currently number 1 ranked FPL player out of all FPL content creators. So in the FPL Content Creators League, currently first, but I know, like FPL Focal and Az are smashing it, and they've each got 1 extra chip compared to me. They've each got a free hit. Focal's got a triple captain, and Az has got his bench boost as well. So, those 2 guys will catch up with me. Like, I know that. But we are going to enjoy our moment in the sun temporarily. It's all good fun. I mean, who would have thought I'd be here at this, at the start of the season? Like, I'm usually not a very good fantasy manager, but here we go. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts, as you all should if you're having a good season. Oh, Dan Cross in the chat says, I'll be there. Dan Cross will be at the fantasy football event on the 22nd. So you get to meet the moderator extraordinaire, Dan Cross. I mean, that's a little bit more important than meeting anyone else, I would say. Darley Ben says we can't risk having 3 Burnley players. I mean, I would not be bringing in 3 Burnley players, but I already have them, so it's kind of like, if I have them, I'm going to keep them. Right, okay. I said I was going to do a wildcard draft, so I am going to do that still. Man, the lag today is pretty mad. Oh God, why am I lagging so much today? I don't know why it is. My internet has been a bit suspect recently. But guys, let's make this team. So let's start off with Robertson. I think he'd be one of the first players on my team sheet along with Salah. That eats up a big budget immediately. So those 2 players would go straight in your wild card. Good start. Not bad. Okay. Let's put in Kane. I think the form that he has, and how he often performs so well at the end of seasons, I think you've got to have him. Cancelo would be in for sure as well. So that's 4 players already. We're getting there. Saka, you can't really go without. So guys, by the way, if your team is already looking similar to this, then you're in a pretty good position. So who would we go for next? Who's the next most important player? I mean, a lot of people would say Trent, but I don't know if I would have Trent. I genuinely don't know if I would have Trent in a wild card. I mean, you can always get him in later. And we're at a period of this season where team value doesn't matter as much. I mean, you're like for this game week, say he doesn't start this game week, and I don't think he will. And if you've got Robertson, I think you are covering it to a degree. If he doesn't play this game week, you're not going to be too enthusiastic about playing him against Man City. You might want him against Manchester United, but you wouldn't be desperate. You would perhaps be desperate to get him in from game week 34 onwards for that final stretch, which will include a double game week, hopefully in 36. So you would want him eventually, but would you be desperate to have him for the next 3 game weeks? Not necessarily. So, yeah, I don't think you would have him in. And I guess if you've got loads of budget, then yeah, fair enough. You just smack him in now and hope. But I think there is genuine argument to just wait a little while. Just wait a little while and just get him in later. I don't think you need him. He wouldn't be one of my essential players, unlike all of these other players I've got on screen right now, who I would genuinely consider essential above the likes of Trent. And these are the players I'd really want to have. I think you would have Gordon, because we've got to save some money somewhere. So we're going to have Gordon in there, and he's just such a good budget player. You would probably go for Kai Havertz. I think this is a slightly risky one, and I don't think Havertz is essential, but I think you would probably go for Havertz. As for goalkeepers, I quite like Pope for now, just for the next, few game weeks. I mean, if we're looking at, like I said, possibility for, was it 3 double game weeks in 5? If that were to happen, Pope is essential, right? And then you kind of look at who alternates quite well with him, and I think Schmeichel alternates with him in terms of when the likely double game weeks are going to be. Let's just confirm that using using this. So Leicester double game weeks 33, which is actually the same time as Burnley. Actually, is that a good rotation? Well, I mean, you'd get 37, wouldn't you? You get 36 and 37 double game weeks. And if Burnley double in 34, it could be pretty good there. I don't know. I mean, maybe that would be a good bench boost for 33, to be honest. So, yeah, Schmeichel. The other player is Pickford. If you fancy Pickford as your other rotating goalkeeper, who obviously both of them double now, but the other double game weeks are kind of going to be a little bit later down the line. Sort of game week 36, game week 37, where it's looking less likely that Burnley will double then. So you'd want really a goalkeeper who's going to double in 36. And so that is Schmeichel, Pickford. I mean, maybe you could even go for Ramsdale there, to be fair, and have Ramsdale in for some of those other weeks. Where would you really want to cover Burnley? Well, it's just 36 and 37 really. So yeah, maybe that is that's a job for Arsenal maybe. So maybe, but that's a very expensive goalkeeper combo, isn't it? No, Schmeichel. Let's go with Schmeichel for the rotation. For the sake of this wildcard draft, let's go for Schmeichel. I think he's a little bit cheaper. Right, that nearly gives us a full lineup. After that, you kind of have options. Really, you're kind of not locked into anything. You probably go for one, one more Leicester player. Maybe go for Harvey Barnes. I don't think you have to, but you could. It's an option. Again, it depends. Are you looking for a bench boost? If so, if you're looking to do a bench boost, you'd have a maybe strong in the rest of the positions. I would say that this is a really good start to a template though, and this is probably where I would start. And then elsewhere, it's kind of up to you. I mean, yeah, someone in the chat says Weghorst. You could go for Weghorst if you wanted to. I would also just be tempted to just not spend very much money in the attack whatsoever, really. But you could go for Weghorst. I think some of the other players are going to outscore Weghorst anyway. A player who I would get if I'm not going for an Arsenal goalkeeper, if I'm not going for Ramsdale, I probably am bringing in Ben White. Just to have a little bit of cover on the Arsenal defence there. which leaves us with 3 spots. I think one of the spots is just got to be a really, really cheap defender. So like, I don't know, Amati is 3.9, could potentially have some. I mean, to be honest, I think there's going to be a bit of rotation for Amati. Because Leicester have got pretty much all of their centre-backs now, because Evans is back, Soyuncu's back, Vestergaard is Vestergaard. James Justin sometimes plays there, Castan sometimes plays there as well. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not so keen on Amati, to be honest. Who are other really cheap defenders? I mean, Fabian Schär springs to mind immediately. So maybe let's put him in. 4.3 million. It's a good price. Nice and cheap. For the next attacker, maybe you just go someone really cheap. I don't know. Maybe that. Something really cheap like that. If you wanted to spend a little bit more money, maybe you're planning a bench boost or something. Mateta's been in pretty good form recently. Looking pretty good. Slight rotation risk, but not massively. And then you got 8.6 for another midfielder. So how about Foden to finish you off? I mean, this is my budget, to be fair, so maybe yours is slightly different. But yeah, how about Foden there? He's got some good fixtures, hasn't he? Coming up, Man City, Burnley, Liverpool, not so great, but then Brighton, Watford, Leeds, Newcastle, but that's likely to be a double game week there, including either West Ham or Wolves away games. So, yeah, maybe you want to go for an extra Man City player there. So there we go. Jeremy Baker says 41 minutes in, groups drawn 0. So there we go. At least we're keeping you guys occupied until until finally the World Cup draw actually begins. But there we are. So okay, this is not well, I mean, a lot of thought has gone into a lot of these players, but some of them are a little bit random. Like Foden, Schär, your second goalkeeper, I don't think you need to have. Mateta, I don't think you need to have. He's nice to have, but you don't need to have him. Kai Havertz, maybe a little bit risky. But this team, again, let's have a look and see what this would look like in game. So this game week, who would you play? Well, you would bench Schär this game week. You would bench Schmeichel this game week. You would bench it's White against Crystal Palace. It's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. You would bench Mateta, and then you bench one more player, and you kind of have the option, really. I mean, you probably, to be fair, would bench this game week. You probably bench White, but most game weeks you're gonna rotate, kind of thing. You're gonna rotate between kind of Gordon will play some weeks. When Gordon has double game weeks, you'll play him. When White has a really nice fixture, you'll play him. Maybe when White has a double game week, you play him. If Newcastle get a double game week, then you'll play him. Maybe Mateta he's probably going to stay on your bench pretty permanently, which is why I think in this wildcard draft, you can afford to just downgrade Mateta to like the cheapest possible forward, particularly if you're not on a going to do a bench boost for the rest of the season. I would have that third forward slot as just a really super cheap player, because at the end of the day, the forwards are not providing us anything. It's unlikely that you're going to want to make a third forward transfer. If you decide you want a different forward at some point this season, then you're just going to transfer Weghorst out for them. Right now, there isn't really any other forwards that you really, really want. So there we go. So yeah, you'll kind of rotate between these different, these different players. This, like I said, this game week you would probably have those three players: Schmeichel, White, Schär, and Mateta on the bench. White would probably be your first sub, followed by, I don't know, maybe Mateta and then Schär. You'd have Schmeichel on the bench as well, and that actually, to be fair, would be a pretty decent lineup, a really decent lineup for this game week, actually, wouldn't it? Really decent. Got a super chat from Ash Ketchup that says Rafinha and Diaz or Havertz and Maddison. See, this is another point, because you could potentially go for a Diaz. The problem with going for a Diaz, because he goes in the, just cancel this, depending on your budget, You know, let's downgrade Mateta, for example, to like a Gelhardt. And you could actually swap Foden and get in a Diaz. Like that. Depending on your budget, you might not even need to downgrade Gelhardt. Yeah, you could do that, or you could get him in instead of Havertz instead if you fancy that. It's possible. The only problem with going for Diaz is it does lock you out of getting Trent, or at least it locks you out of getting Trent easily, which is not ideal. Because if you're going to go for one defender from Liverpool, it's going to be Robertson. At this exact point, if you're going for one Liverpool defender, it is Robertson. Like there's no doubts in my mind about that. You're also going to have Salah. Like you are not going to like how in the world are you going to go without Salah? You're just not. Your third slot is either go for Diaz now, go for Trent now, or leave yourself the option to go for Trent later. Diaz is risky. He is rotation risk as well. Remember, guys, Liverpool are still in lots of competitions. So yeah, just do bear that in mind. So yeah, there we go. Let's put, who do I have in? Foden. I'm going to make some annotations quickly again, just so we can have a final, just to finalise this. And then we'll perhaps wrap up the stream because I know we've got some, or maybe we'll just have a look at the World Cup draw. If it's going on. I know you guys are kind of checking out the World Cup draw as this stream is going on. It's not quite started yet though. But yeah, I'm going to just put a question mark over some optional players. Oh, that's not very obvious, is it? Is there like a really obvious colour I can use? Green? No. White? No, probably not white. Red. I'm just going to use red. So I'm going to put... You know what? I know I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say the essential players. The essential players are Robertson, James, Cancelo, probably Pope, to be fair. I don't think I would make a wild card without him. Saka is essential. Salah is essential. Kane is essential. I don't think Gordon is necessarily essential, but he's pretty close. So we're going to put this colour around him. So he's pretty close to being essential. You know, if you're not going for Ramsdale, white would be reasonably essential. And Havertz looks like a good shout as well. Weghorst is a reasonably good shout, I would say. But those players are not essential. Those players with the gold outline, the yellow outline, not essential. And then the optional players are kind of, you know, if you want to go for them, you could easily mix this up a little bit and get creative with this a little bit. Kind of up to you. I don't think Schmeichel is necessarily essential either. He's an okay pick, but you could probably do a little bit better depending on what chips you've got, what rotation you're going to use. And there we go. There's some beautiful annotations on screen of how I would set up for a wild card. I hope that is very helpful for you guys. And if not, oh well. Right, let's just go back to my team. Because imagine if I clicked save and accidentally did a minus a million. Right, the draw is finally beginning. Let's have a look. Is there a website I can go check out? Is it on on the Twitter maybe, Twitter page? FIFA. Does official FIFA have a Twitter account? Yeah. FIFA.com. Is there like a live draw somewhere that we can check out? Has anyone got a link? If you've got a link, guys, if you wouldn't mind sending it my way on Twitter, whether that's a video or just a verb, not a verbal one, like where it just has it written down, like live text updates. That's what I'm looking for. BBC. Let's have a look. Watch? Can we watch it? Is this allowed? Is this legal? I don't know if this is legal, actually. That sounds risky to have it live on screen. I just want text updates, really. I mean, is it legal in the stream to have BBC playing? Because you've got to have a TV license. No, I can't rebroadcast it. No, I think that would be illegal, so we're not going to do that. FIFA World Cup draw text up. Text. Maybe the Twitter account is just going to do it. I don't want to watch it. We can't watch it on the stream. You guys can watch it. Actually, I can watch it. I can watch it, and I'll just remove it from on screen. That's what I'll do. You can have a look at, I don't know, you can have a look at this. Well, actually, you can have a look at whatever's going on Twitter. This guy. And I will watch it. BBC has live text, just mute. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, let's do that. Right, guys, you are not to look at that. Don't look. You can't look at that. Don't look. Okay, here we go. Love it, guys. Thank you. So we've got Group A, Qatar, Group B, England, Group C, Argentina, Group D, France. I think I'm a little bit behind. I don't even know if you guys can see this properly on screen. Yeah, you can. That's all right, isn't it? It's live on the FIFA YouTube channel. Is that allowed to rebroadcast that though? I don't know. I feel like you can get into trouble, like rebroadcasting other people's stuff, kind of thing. Maybe if it's live content anyway. So Spain in Group E, Belgium in Group F. So England in Group B. That means that we will play on this, possibly on the second day, on day 2. So obviously Qatar will have the big opener. It will be likely that will be Qatar's opening game will likely be the only game on that first day of the World Cup, and then the second day will likely be the other 2 teams in Group A, and then we'll also see one of the games in England's group, possibly England. I mean, maybe even 3 games on the second day. I don't know why it's doing this weird flashy thing, by the way, guys. It used to do this when I was doing my old streams on my old computer. So I don't know. I'll try and fix it. Any other updates? I think it's been slow to update a little bit. Come on, show me the next team. Wait, how many? What? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So we've got 2 more. Wait. Is that right? Yeah, we've got 2 more to come. I feel like we're just staring at a nothing screen, guys. If you wanna, if you've tuned out, by this point, then that's absolutely fine. Particularly if you're rewatching this and you already know the groups, then this is if the rest of this stream is gonna be pretty boring for you. So yeah, feel free to like and subscribe if you're new around here. I would massively appreciate that. If you want to stick around and watch the live reactions to the group stages of the World Cup, then feel free to stick around. If not, then fair enough. I'll try and answer some FPL questions in the chat as well at the same time whilst we're waiting for these teams to come in. So we've got Group G, Brazil. I think someone in the chat said Group H, Portugal. So that's all of the seeded teams, right? The number 1 seeded teams. So now we're going to go back to Group A and find out who is going to be in Qatar's group. So whatever the next team is, I'm guessing they're going to do it like that. Unless they go back in reverse. I'm not sure. I'm not watching. I'm just looking at the text updates. But Sonny in the chat says Broja or Mount. I would definitely start Mount over Broja this game week, just because I feel like Broja is a bit of a rotation risk at the moment. He's not a favoured player. So apparently we are going to get Netherlands in Group A with Qatar. Abe Daniel says start Broja or Maddison. I think I would start Maddison. I just feel like Broja is a cheap forward for a reason, and I don't think you should feel forced to. I don't think you should feel forced to play Broja or do that. Oh, here we go, guys. England will play on the opening day of the World Cup, so it's actually not going to be like previous World Cups. So unlike other World Cups where it starts with just one game on the first night, there are 4 games on day 1 on the 21st of November. So that's actually really interesting because usually it's just one, just the one team, one game, and it's the big opener, the host nation. But England are playing on day 1 of the World Cup. That is going to be absolute madness. So yeah, it's finally updated on screen for me. Group A, Qatar, Netherlands. I wonder if we can find something a little bit quicker. Like, is anyone like doing this a little bit quicker on Twitter? Like someone saying in the chat that we've got England and USA in a group. That's interesting. That is very interesting. And exciting, to be fair. Because I don't know, is that a big rivalry? I imagine a lot of you guys watching this will be, from the States. You'll be excited about that one, I imagine. England versus USA is usually pretty boring game, to be honest, though. I remember watching that. When was the last time I watched that? Was it World Cup? Oh, no. One time I remember watching that game. Wasn't that the game where, was it Paul Robinson in goal? Where there was a pass back and he let it in. Was it Paul Robinson? It was somewhat. It was like a middling England goalkeeper who was playing in that game. Maybe one of you guys in the chat can remind me. Was it like a Paul Robinson or a Rob Green or someone like that? There was a pass back. I can't remember what year it was in. I want to say 2006. Yeah. Or 2010. Where there was a pass back in there, yeah. Maybe you can let me know. Let's try and find something. It's like BBC Sport. Come on, you guys have got this. Rob Green. It was Rob Green, not Robinson. I do apologise. Right. I just want some text updates on Twitter somewhere because that'll be so much quicker. People on Twitter are quick. FIFA.com, are they tweeting it? Because it's so slow on the website. Like, they've missed a trick here if they're not tweeting it live. Why is no one tweeting it live? It's ridiculous. Oh well. So is this updated yet? Slowly but surely, we're a couple of minutes behind. So, Group A so far, Qatar and Netherlands. Group B so far, England and USA. And Group C so far, Argentina and Mexico. But I imagine we have got some more. And someone says in the chat, Jeremy, Denmark in Group D with France. Group of death potential. Is it a group of death potential? Denmark are not that strong of a team, really, are they? I mean, if we're looking at so far, who are the strongest groups? I mean, it's not Qatar. England, USA, Argentina, Mexico. I mean, how good are Mexico these days? Because they've had some good players in the past, but I'm actually kind of struggling to think of some, real high caliber Mexican players at the moment. I don't think there's they've got quite the team that they've kind of had in decades gone by. Mexican players. Is Carlos Vela still playing? There is like... Who was the... Lozano. He's Mexican, isn't he? Pretty good. So yeah, Group C is looking like it could be pretty spicy. So Group E is apparently going to come up on my screen very shortly. And that's going to be Germany with Spain. Now, if we're talking about groups of death. Oh, Jimenez from Mexico. Duh. Sorry, guys. I actually want to have a look. Here's the Mexico national football team. Like, who are their players at the moment? Because I don't think I could name a full 11 from Mexico. Maybe that's harsh. Ochoa is still about. Amazing. Defenders. I don't really know any of those defenders. Wow. I mean, Edson Alvarez, I've seen him play before for Ajax. Jimenez, obviously. Jesus Corona, yeah. Lozano, legend. He's a good player. Who else has been called up recently? Who we know of? Marcelo Flores. Oh, yeah, I remember him getting his call up. The Arsenal youngster. You know what? Javier Hernandez, is he still about? Is he still available for selection? What a legend. What a legend of the game. Guardado, 173 caps for Mexico. Absolutely insane. Herrera, yeah, he's a decent player. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mexico, they don't have the same squad as they used to, as they once did. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I'll be doing loads of research because don't worry, guys. We will be doing fantasy World Cup come November. Come November, we are going to be doing huge amounts of fantasy content. Like, it's going to be amazing. So we've got Group F, Belgium and Croatia. That's looking like a slightly weaker group so far. Kinda. We've got Portugal and Uruguay in a group there. That's okay. Why am I getting so many notifications? Get a load of notifications. People want to talk about the group stage, I suppose. Brazil and Switzerland. Is my Twitter hacked? Why would my Twitter be hacked? Am I posting strange things on Twitter? No, everything on my Twitter is completely normal. So my Twitter is not hacked. Don't worry about that. Wait, so hang on. Uruguay were actually drawn out of Group G, but they can't go. Oh right, so there was a bit of a mix-up there. There's always a mix-up. Of course, as I'm guessing you'll do a World Cup FPL again, Dan. It will be weird halfway through the FPL season. You know what? It is going to be really strange changing gears between FPL and World Cup fantasy. And you know what? I think that like next season, after the World Cup is concluded, I think there's potential for there to be a massive drop off on fantasy players. Like I think a lot of people will just not want to play FPL after the World Cup. They'll give up very, very early because this break, it's just going to be strange. It's going to be very, very strange. Just to have right in the middle of a Premier League season. It's really going to take up the momentum, and a lot of people will be kind of, there'll be injuries. There will be, there'll be people playing, Premier League players playing really well in the World Cup. There'll be Premier League players playing really poorly in the World Cup. It'll throw everything off balance, and it's going to be a little bit crazy. So, has there been any updates? Pot 3. Of course, says we've got Iran. Okay. Well, I mean, Mrs. FPL Mate is going to be really excited about that one because she is, of course, her family, at least, a part of her family, is Iranian. So that's going to be a good fun. That'll be all that group now needs is Nigeria, not that they're in the World Cup, and that would be a FPL Mate household derby group. England, USA, and Iran. Well, I mean, what's the USA versus Iran score going to be? They love each other, don't they? USA and Iran, they're always in bed with one another. Are they allowed to sell each other players like they sell each other weapons of mass destruction. England, USA, Iran. That's quite a fun group. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, if you're an England fan, you're probably gonna feel like that's quite a nice group. Like maybe it looks like we're gonna get a pretty easy group from here, doesn't it? Where's Qatar? Oh, there you are. Qatar, Netherlands, and Senegal. Okay, well that's Qatar already out. If we know Senegal and their laser pointer antics, are they're gonna bring their laser pointers again? Yeah, okay. Qatar are doomed. I mean, to be fair, Qatar were doomed before the tournament even kicked off. Like, they've never even qualified for a World Cup before. Their FIFA ranking is like 180th or something like that. The World Cup arguably shouldn't even be in the country. They are very fortunate to even be playing in this group, and they will be crashing out at fourth bottom. And I think, to be honest, with the way this World Cup has come about, it's left a bit of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, hasn't it? So I think a lot of people are going to be cheering for Qatar to be dropped out nice and early. So Argentina, Mexico, Poland. That is actually looking like a really interesting group. Really interesting group. On another hand, guys, I'm already thinking Group A. I'm thinking really far ahead for World Cup fantasy. We're going to go for a Mane. Can you imagine Mane versus Qatar? Or maybe Wout Weghorst. We're going to bring Wout Weghorst in for the Netherlands team to play against Qatar. That is going to be very, very interesting. Operation Target Qatar. But no, England versus Iran, that's another game where, England you would expect to get a big scoreline against a team like Iran. You would be seriously disappointed. England versus USA, you just kind of think it's going to be one of those boring 1-0s that England seem to get. But against Iran, you would really hope that they would go there and give them a real smacking. If that's the third game in the group, you could even see England really rotating for that game. Really rotating. So Group G, Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia. That's reasonably interesting. Serbia in European qualification for the World Cup. Really well. So that's going to be that's going to provide some really interesting games. Can you imagine the toughness of Serbia against kind of the silk of Brazil? That's going to be a really interesting game. Group D, E and F are all skipped because Serbia can't go into any of them as they all have 2 European countries. Okay, there we go. So that's why we're kind of jumping about the groups a little bit. I get it. Nemanja Vidic says, don't write off Iran. I'm not writing off Iran. I mean, USA are there, aren't they? But you would be disappointed if England didn't get a serious result against Iran. Julie Francisco says, Dan, who do you think would be better for this game week, Havertz or Foden? I'm really on the fence with this one because they both seem like great picks. I would go for Havertz, I think. I would lean towards Havertz. Luke V says, did you get fooled today, Dan? No, actually. No one's managed to fool me today, which is good. Group D, we've now got Tunisia in there with France and Denmark. So, yeah, that is looking like Tunisia, another one of those weaker teams. Well, will be one of the weaker teams in the tournament. You'd expect Mbappe in your fantasy teams, in your World Cup fantasy teams. But Kylian Mbappe, Pogba, who is insane for France. When Pogba's playing next to Kante, he just has this license and he just plays these beautiful. He plays the football that Manchester United fans wish they could have from Pogba. I just think Pogba is such a wonderful footballer for France. He does show flashes of brilliance for United, obviously. Spain, Germany, and Japan. Okay, interesting. I mean, I've always got a soft spot for Japan because I'm a bit of a weeb. So yeah, okay, that's all right there. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a group that I'll be interested in watching. Spain, Germany, and Japan. I might get a Japan shirt for the next World Cup. That could be a good shirt to get. Add to my shirt collection. Group F, Belgium, Croatia, and Morocco now. So, yeah, Morocco, Marwan Shamak. Darley Ben says Tunisia is average but not very weak. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously some of you guys are going to be from some of these countries that I'm mentioning. Are Tunisia really an average team in the tournament? When I say one of the weaker teams, I mean in the bottom half of teams. I would think we would all probably comfortably put teams like Tunisia, Morocco, Iran, even Japan, who, from what I think I saw, I don't think Japan had a particularly fruitful qualification process. I mean, they qualified, obviously, but I don't think they blew anyone away. So England play Iran on the opening day of the World Cup. Oh, England versus Iran first day. How about that? Jeremy says Dan was the fooler today, not the fool. Those tricks were awesome. Yeah, we did a couple of April Fool's tricks this morning, didn't we? There were two. The first was this tweet. It's why I'm quitting YouTube. I even made a thumbnail for a video that doesn't exist. This video is, incidentally, it's just a link to an old video of mine. Like a really old, like a 15-year-old video from mine, maybe a little bit less than, like, I don't know, probably like a 12-year-old video of mine from a very old channel. So that's where that link goes. And you know what? I went so far that I even edited on a little fake tear. I reddened the eyes just to make it extra realistic as a thumbnail. And I got a few people. I got a few people with that one. And then this second one, I think I fooled more people with this one. The collab with Let's Talk FPL is finally happening. April Fool's never happening. That got a few people hyped up with that one. I think in response, we got where was it? Immediately after soon after I tweeted that, is there a Scrooge equivalent for April Fools? That's basically me. So that didn't go down too well, which makes it funnier in my opinion. But yeah, going back to the World Cup draw. So I think I've offended someone else, haven't I? AMR says, buddy, listen here, buddy. Morocco is arguably the best African team with Senegal. I mean, Senegal's the best African team, isn't it? I'm not saying Morocco are bad within the context of AFCON and what have you. But again, they're not a team you expect. They're not a team you expect to qualify for last 16. If they qualify for last 16 in the World Cup, that would be considered an achievement. But and therefore you do have to consider them a bottom half team. I mean, unless you guys think differently, or unless I'm kind of mistaken here, maybe you guys think Morocco are actually favourites to go ahead of Belgium and Croatia. Don't know. I mean, Belgium you would say qualify, wouldn't you? And Croatia, I mean, Croatia are kind of a middling team. You could, to be fair, okay, you could see Morocco getting one over on Croatia, possibly. Portugal with Uruguay and now South Korea. Heung-min Son and Hwang Hee-chan there as well. Group D, we've got the undecided ultimate cross-confederation championship to decide who out of UAE, Australia and Peru are going to go through there. I mean, can you imagine the scenes if United Arab Emirates qualify for the World Cup? If they do, you would, I think you would say, what's going on here? Because they've never qualified for a World Cup before, have they? Okay. We've got Ecuador here in with Qatar's group. You know what? Ecuador are one of the weaker teams in the tournament. Again, I'm not saying they're a terrible team. I'm not saying that I hate everyone from Ecuador. And I'm not saying they have no chance. I'm saying they want to. I might just give up on saying teams of weaker teams because I'm going to offend someone. Alistair says all these constraints. They keep changing the England group. Could be Wales. Who are in England's group at the moment again? Well, they could have another European team in there, couldn't they? Yeah, England, USA, Iran. So it could be Wales. Could be Scotland. Have Scotland been drawn yet? So it could be Scotland or Wales. Yeah, that would be crazy. Oh my word, what a group that would be. If England get one of Scotland or Wales. I mean, they're likely to get them at this point, aren't they? Because, yeah, there you go. Saudi Arabia has just got into Group C. Dick McWillie says, Ecuador are a terrible team and they have no chance. We can't say that. I've already got in trouble for saying Tunisia are a weaker team. I've already got in trouble for saying Morocco are a weaker team. I've already got in trouble for saying Iran are a weaker team. We're not allowed to call teams bad anymore. Every team is great. So, yeah, now that Saudi Arabia have gone in there, surely we've got a really good chance of getting Wales or Scotland in with England. Really good chance. Can you imagine if Qatar are in this tournament, UAE qualify, and Saudi Arabia are in there at the same time, and there are 3 teams on the Arabian Peninsula in the World Cup? What a huge moment in Arabic football that would be. Oh, we've got an update. Okay, it has to be England or Wales then. Surely. We're running out of teams. Spain, Germany, Japan, and then one of Costa Rica or New Zealand. That is the final results of Group E. Costa Rica. I used to love Costa Rica in the World Cup, not because they were particularly good, but I just they always had that. Who was the player who played for Arsenal? Campbell. I love to watch Campbell play for Costa Rica in the World Cup. Absolutely love that. Here we go. British Derby. Oh, hello. If Wales or Scotland qualify for World Cup, they will be in England's group. Otherwise, it's Ukraine against England. Wow. It's happening. So one of Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine. So we had run out of teams then. Yeah, there we go. That's the final results of the draw. England, USA, Iran, and one of Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine. Man, who's it going to be out of those guys? Nathan says, come on, you Tartan army. Man, I'm guessing... there's a lot of people from Wales and from Scotland who play FPL, right? I imagine a lot of you guys are from Wales or Scotland. I can see a couple of Scottish people in the chat already. How much would you love to play against England in the group? You know, I know all other British people in all of the other British Isles hate England, but I mean, I always want the home nations to go through. I always want Wales, Scotland, even like Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. I want to see them go through because I feel like our football is very much intertwined. A lot of players from around the British Isles do play in England, and they're familiar names and players that we like, players who play for our teams, and we've got England have got some exports there as well. So even though I know other people, non-English British people, don't like England, I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I like the idea of other teams going through. But man, if England don't get out of that group, that's number one. We're number one in that group. Surely we qualify first. It would be a disaster if we didn't. It really would. We've been pretty lucky, I think. I think England have been pretty lucky with that draw. That's one of the easier groups. I mean, Group B, that's pretty tough with Spain and Germany. Group C, Argentina, Mexico and Poland. Mexico and Poland kind of seem like banana skin type teams to me. Qatar, Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador is one of the weaker groups, I suppose. Netherlands will be pretty happy with that. But then Senegal are a very good team. France have done pretty well out of this. They've done pretty well. A few people saying Scotland easy win versus England. Well, you're not there yet. You're not in the World Cup yet. So let's just wait. Just wait. We're gonna get another nice 0-0 against you like the Euros. Where are the other groups? Is it not finished yet? Oh no, we're up here. So Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia, Cameroon. That's kind of a tough group. I mean, there's Switzerland, Serbia, Cameroon. You can see doing a little bit of damage. There's no weak teams in that group. Group F: Belgium, Croatia, Morocco, Canada. Canada have got some good players coming through, so even that group is not bad. Portugal got Uruguay and South Korea and Ghana. I mean, again, they're kind of like, they could be banana skin teams. Like England, I could imagine losing to teams like Uruguay, South Korea, or Ghana, or maybe drawing. It could be pretty tough. So I think, honestly, England have probably come out of that with the best group of any seeded team. I think out of the seeded teams, we're probably in a good situation. But yeah, there's some really interesting other groups. Group H looks exciting. Group F could be exciting. Group G could be exciting. Group B, I think, is, honestly, if I wasn't an England fan, I would probably find that pretty boring. Group E is good because it's got Spain and Germany. Group C, don't know how interesting that'll be. Group A, yeah, not one of the better ones. Group D is not one of the better ones either. But there are some fun ones. There's some fun ones. There we go, guys. Right, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. I've been streaming for way too long. I need to go out and run some errands. I was meant to go 20 minutes ago, but it's okay. Never mind. Guys, thanks for sticking with me. Feel free to like this stream and subscribe if you're new around here. That would be massively appreciated. Nice chat to you guys. Nice having a catch up. And I will see you next. Well, I've got loads of videos uploaded for Gameweek 31. If you want to go check out some Gameweek 31 related content, there's loads on my channel that you probably have missed because I was making it all the way into last week as well. But aside from that, I will be back with you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. for a Gameweek 31 deadline stream. And I suppose I'll see you guys over on Twitter as well this evening. So yeah, see you on 10 a.m. UK time tomorrow for the deadline stream. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.